So first off, we have two tongues. And I had posted some questions on the internet about whether or not a 3500 GVW tongue was enough to pull 10,000 pounds, maybe even a little more than 10,000 pounds out of the water. There was some debate. I got some good input. Ultimately though, it wasn't just the tongue, it was safety chain. This safety chain was wrapped around in a way that was tight. So even if the tongue let loose of the ball, it wasn't going to go anywhere. It wouldn't have gone anywhere. This was the tongue for towing the trailer when the boat isn't on it. This is the extension tongue, and this is what we do here in Hawaii and probably other places in the world, where if you need to push a boat deep enough back into the water for it to come off its trailer, like you do with this Trimeran, then you need that extension to make that happen. So that's 20 foot of 1/4 inch tubing, and that has an extreme amount of strength to it. Okay, so the second thing is I had to figure out where to put this little winch here, and to be honest, it really didn't do anything. We didn't really use it. Here you can see the boat's not even touching it. It was originally, but as we pulled it out and the boat settled down, it slid back a little bit. So, but what I would like to do is, once I repair the bow, when this happened to the boat, years and years of it bumping up against the dock, the previous owner just wasn't able to figure out how to spring line the boat to keep it from doing that when the swells were happening. So this is all going to get ground out, re-glassed and fortified, and then I'll put a D-ring in there so that I'm not doing what you see here, which was ridiculous. Didn't do anything, like I said. All right, now the next consideration was, what was the tongue weight going to be? And I'll be honest with you, there's 0 tongue weight. If I lift that jack stand up, this tongue will just sit right where it's at. So the boat is perfectly balanced over the wheels. If anything, it's a little stern heavy. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm on uneven ground and I'm judging by tire pressure and the bulge in the tires. But basically, there's no tongue weight at all. So these lines here were just tied on to help guide the boat in as it came in, because the boat's floating and it doesn't settle on the trailer until the trailer's pulled up the ramp. So it worked perfect. It guided right in. The next thing is cross beam bunks. So there's a cross beam structurally that holds the outer hulls to the inner hulls, and there's one cross beam right exactly here. So what I intended was for the boat's cross beam to sit directly on this strut, and we're a little aft of the strut, which explains why the tongue there is no tongue weight. But if it had been 1 foot further forward, there would have probably been about 1,000 pounds of tongue weight. That's what I had calculated. So some people in the comments on Instagram were saying they were concerned that these struts would fold. And the reason why that wasn't a concern for me at all is because there was no intention of these struts actually taking the weight of the boat. The weight of the boat is here at the keel. That keel is sitting directly on the trailer frame cross members. And so what I had to do was I had to dive down underneath the boat and measure the distance between the bottom of the keel and where these cross beams are. And I did that by taking a 2x4, and it was a dried up old 2x4, so it had lots of buoyancy, and it was about 8 feet long. I swam it down, I laid it across the keel underneath the boat, and the 2x4, it wanted to float. but because the keel was holding it from floating, I just balanced it, centered it, and then I took the extension pole, or the boat hook pole, and I swam over here and I just extended it until it touched the cross beam and it touched the 2x4, and then I swam that measurement underneath to the other side and made sure they were the same. Once I got that, I was able to swim it up on deck and then take that measurement, and that was critical. That was a critical measurement to make sure that these struts were not taking the weight, and all they were doing was balancing the boat. That's it. So all the load on these guys is laterally, not forward and backwards, but side to side. And if there's a perfect amount, if it touches the keel and it touches these, there's no momentum to build unless you're driving like an idiot, right? So here's the fit between the keel. I mean, it sits absolutely perfectly level, and there's no space between the forward cross member and the aft cross member. So that fit is tight. So essentially what we got here is a quad axle, 10,000 pound minimum rated trailer to carry a 10,000 pound boat. The documents on the boat say 8,500 pounds. Now I'll get to working on this puppy. Oh, one other thing I was going to show you is that these little guide bumpers that I welded in here, if I was to say one dimension was a little tight, it would be this one. Now it's intentionally bent, but that this PVC's got some pressure on it, and that steel down there is not, it's not actually touching the boat. It's the PVC that's taking up the pressure, but it's the angle's a little bit off. It would be nice if it was just a degree or two more, but I'm not going to bother fixing that. There you go.